Hi everyone, my name is Amitesh, and in this video we're going to talk about a tricky equation with the absolute value. And the goal is to show that no matter how complicated your math problem is, you can always reduce it down using basic steps to fundamental principles. Okay, so here we have the equation on the board. The equation is absolute value of 2x plus 4 minus 6, absolute value of that plus 8, absolute value of that equals 10, solve for x. Okay, so there's a lot of absolute values going on, but we're just going to break it up step by step. And what I encourage you to do before watching is just see if you can solve it yourself. Think about how you'd approach it, try to do the steps and get the solution. And let me know down in the comments below, how do you approach the problem? What were your steps? Because it's always possible to learn from different approaches. And I'd love to learn from you if you have any ideas. So please feel free to do that. But what I'm going to do is, assuming you've paused the video and had a chance to think about this at least, let's dive right into how we actually solve this. Okay, so I'm just going to get the right marker. So let me use a blue marker. Now we do this in steps. I have relevant videos down in the description below on absolute value. I've done quite a few of those, so please check them out. What we're going to start off by doing is to understand the first absolute value, the biggest one here. Now, if the absolute value of something, it doesn't matter what the thing is. In this case, we're looking at what I'm underlining in blue. If it's equal to 10, that means that something should be plus or minus 10. Remember, the absolute value is the distance to 0 on the number line. So if something is 10 away from 0 on the number line, it's either plus 10 or negative 10. Okay, so what we can do is we can now reduce this to saying absolute value of 2x plus 4 minus 6, absolute value plus 8 is equal to plus or minus 10. Okay, it's equal to plus or minus 10. So I'll say 10, or I'm just going to do it in two steps just to show you. 2x plus 4 minus 6 absolute value plus 8 is equal to minus 10. So we have to solve both of these equations. Okay, a solution to the original equation could come from either of these equations we have here. Let's look at this one first. Okay, so I'm going to look at this bottom one first, and there's a reason for that. Because the bottom one, what you want to do again is isolate the x part. Okay, so in this case, the x entity is, or the x part is going to be this expression I'm going to underline in black. I can't really simplify it just yet. So I'm just going to put that to one side of the equation. I'm going to write down absolute value of 2x plus 4 minus 6, absolute value. If you subtract 8 from both sides of this equation, you're going to get a negative 18 on the right hand side is equal to negative 18. Now, quick question. How would you go about solving this equation? So this is something, it's a sort of a trick question because the absolute value is always non-negative. Remember, it's a distance to 0, so it can never be a negative number. And so this has no solutions, okay, because negative 18 is negative. So it doesn't matter what x is, there are no solutions. Okay, so we can kind of like put this in red, and we can I'm going to use red, so I'm going to sort of like cross it out. Okay, so there are no solutions there. However, we now go on to the first equation. Okay, so now we just have to study that. So let's study the first equation. The first equation tells us that the absolute value of, if we again subtract 8 from both sides, right? So this is equation 2. I can sort of put, this is equation 2. I'm just going to put a brackets there. So this was 1, this was 2. So 2 we found as no solution. Now we go to 1. So 1 is going to be the absolute value of 2x plus 4 minus 6 is equal to 10 minus 8, which is 2. Okay, so we subtract 8 from both sides. So we're getting 2. Now we go back to the same principle. Okay, so the principle was the absolute value of something is equal to 2. So now I've sort of gone through the key steps. If you were stuck with solving the question in the beginning, just in case, you can, now that we've done up to here, you can sort of try to go on from here and pause the video. Okay, so I encourage you to do that, but now I'm going to just keep on going with this. So the absolute value of something is 2 means that thing is plus or minus 2. Okay, so here we know that this thing inside the absolute value is, the absolute value of that is 2. So that means this thing I've underlined in blue is plus or minus 2. Okay, so we've got two equations now. I'm going to say 3 and 4. you're going to get the absolute value of 2x plus 4 minus 6 is equal to plus 2, and the absolute value of 2x plus 4 minus 6 is equal to minus 2. All right, so we've got these two equations. Now what we can do is we can solve each of these equations separately. So for the first equation, so I'm going to now switch back to the black pen. So for the first equation, let's sort of like, just to kind of keep it simple, let's split the board into three parts like this. So for the equation 3, we're going to get, if we add 6 to both sides, so again, isolate the x part. We can't simplify the absolute value 2x plus 4 yet, but we just isolate it to one side of the equation, and we're going to get the absolute value of 2x plus 4 is equal to 2 plus 6, which is 8. Now what does that tell us about 2x plus 4? It tells us that 2x plus 4 is plus or minus 8. Okay, so we can keep going. So now we know 2x plus 4 is equal to 8 or minus 8. And I'm going to do a quick trick here. This is something which can sometimes introduce silly errors. So when you're comfortable, you can do this. But instead of writing out two equations and solving them, I'm going to try to do everything in one go. Okay, so I'm going to say 2x plus 4 is plus or minus 8, right? So that's what I'm writing down there. Now I can then subtract 4 from both sides of the equation. So I'm solving for x, I want to isolate the x, but this is really two equations in one. Okay, when I've written 2x plus 4 is plus minus 8, it's not just one equation, it's really two. I'm just trying to simplify things and write things out faster. But here what we're going to get is we're going to get 2x plus 4, or 2x is equal to plus or minus 8 plus 4. So plus 8, you subtract 4 on both sides. So plus 8 minus 4 is 4. And minus 8 minus 4 is going to be minus 12. Okay, so it's going to be 8 minus 4, which is 4, or it's going to be 2x is equal to minus 8 minus 4, which is minus 12. Okay, so you could have done it in one step, but I'm just sort of showing you that this is a way of writing it out. And now we're going to get x is equal to 2 or x is equal to minus 6 if you divide both sides of the equation by 2. So those are both going to be solutions to the original equation. So it's worth checking it out. I mean, let's just check it out and see. So here, if we plug in x equals 2, I'm just going to verbally say it. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 4 is 8. Absolute value 8 is just 8. 8 minus 6 is 2. Absolute value 2 is just 2. 2 plus 8 is 10. Absolute value 10 is just 10. So we get the right answer. Similarly, x equals minus 6. 2 times minus 6 is minus 12, plus 4 is minus 8. Absolute value minus 8 is plus 8. So at that point of the equation, we're going to get just, 8 minus 6 is 2, absolute value 2 is 2, plus 8 is 10, absolute value is 10. So already at this point, we got the same kind of process as we did when we plugged in x equals 2 as when we plugged in x equals minus 6. They already started being equal to each other once we took the absolute value of 2x plus 4, and then we eventually get 10. Okay, so you don't actually have to check it. There's nothing, our reasoning is all both directions, so you don't actually have to plug in. Sometimes there are cases where you do have to double check when you're playing around with the absolute value that the solutions you get really are solutions. You just have to check. I've talked about those in other videos, and relevant videos are down in the description. But let's just go down to equation 4 now. So equation 4 is absolute value 2x plus 4 minus 6 equals negative 2. So again, I'm just going to do this in one go. So we just want to add 6 to both sides. So we're going to get absolute value 2x plus 4 is equal to negative 2 plus 6, which is 4. Right? So negative 2 plus 6 is 4. So now we just do the same thing as before. The absolute value of something is going to be 4. That means that 2x plus 4, this time I'll do it in 2 steps. I was just showing another way. 2x plus 4 is 4, or 2x plus 4 is going to be negative 4. Now we just keep going. So 2x is equal to 0 if you subtract 4 from both sides, or 2x is 0, or 2x is equal to negative 8. Okay? So now what that means is that x is equal to 0 or x is equal to negative 4 if we divide both sides of each equation by 2. Okay, so these are going to be the solutions. X equals 0, or x equals -4. So this is really cool. I mean, just think about how cool this is in some sense. Like linear equations have only one solution. But once we put in all these absolute values, we've got x equals 2 or x equals -6 and x equals 0 or x equals -4. These are all the 4 solutions to the equation. And the cool thing about this problem is it sort of tests out all the concepts of the absolute value. Tests out the idea that the absolute value is always non-negative, so we could rule out that equation. It tests out the idea of what the absolute value is, how do you solve absolute value of something is something else, and then it sort of goes through the usual process, kind of matching up or building these concepts one on top of the other to kind of get to a solution. Okay, so I really like this question for that reason. Play around with it. You can always change up the numbers. Like when I thought about this video, I just wrote down one equation. I knew what I wanted to do. I just wrote down some numbers. There's nothing special about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You can play around with other numbers, see what you get. I did choose the 10 carefully just to kind of get this part of it. So you can sort of see that there's a case where there's no solutions. If I had chosen 10 to be something else, I could have had solutions here as well. And that's sort of an exercise to you. Can you come up with a problem by changing these numbers to sort of get more than 4 solutions at the end? Can you do that? Something to think about. If you think you know what the equation is, leave a comment down below. I'd love to see it. And maybe others can also sort of solve it and learn from it. So that would be great. And in general, I hope you loved this video. I really loved making it. And I love playing around with these problems and talking to you about it. And it means a lot to me and I enjoyed it a lot. So, if you enjoyed too, please leave a like and subscribe. My goal is to create free accessible math education worldwide. And by liking and subscribing, you're helping me to achieve that goal, which is to really give other people, everyone the opportunity to learn math, see it at a whiteboard. Even if, you're not in a university or you're not learning it at your school or university, you can still just kind of watch it on YouTube for free. And liking and subscribing is free too. So thank you so much. I wish you all the best, wherever you are in the world. My goal is to support you in the way I'm creating these videos through math. I love talking to you. I wish you all the best, wherever you are, whatever time it is. I hope you have a wonderful day, afternoon, or evening. And, any comments down below, I'd love to engage with you. I'll do my best to reply to as many as possible. And I'm super excited to see you in the next video. If you have any ideas for video suggestions, please feel free to let me know. I'll definitely take them into account and try to create videos accordingly for popular video suggestions, okay? So have a great day, evening, or night, and I'm super excited to see you soon.